I'm your host, Lo, and this is Mic Drop Sun Drip, the show where we drop truth and speak light into you. This is the show for those ready to awaken to their full power, live from love, bask in golden divine light, embody abundance and divine wealth. Drop into your heart and feel it all in your body. You can watch on YouTube or listen on all podcast platforms. Here we go. Oh, and one more thing. You have a spark of the divine in you. Act accordingly. July cosmic drops, July cosmic drops, July. July feels sizzling, baby. Woo! It's hot in New York, let me tell you right now. And we're here once again because we don't miss a cosmic drop. Natalie and I will not allow ourselves to miss it. And I'm so happy to be here with you, my girl. How are you, babe?
Me too, boo. I am good. I am always good when I'm with you. It is
Mm.
July. It's crazy that it's July, but like I feel like this is a time we've all been waiting for, whether we have been a little fearful of it or we've been like there's
Yeah,
been a lot of anticipation and build up in the astrology world around July 2025 in the US.
I feel that. I feel like every conversation we've had so far has been this. We're on the roller coaster going up, click, 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 click. And it does feel like there's a big drop coming. And July, I have to say, the words that are coming through from an energy perspective for me that I'm feeling in the collective is sizzling, literally,
Hmm.
and electric.
Hmm.
We just went through something wild where I live right now in upstate New York. We went through this crazy thunderstorm. So I woke up, it was this past Saturday. I woke up to these flashes of lightning in my room. And I was like, and I thought it was cars outside. And I go out and I'm like, well, I looked, go to the window and it's just lightning. And I never seen lightning just like it just kept going, lightning, lightning, lightning. And I was like, and then the winds picked up and it was like 70-mile-an-hour winds and tons of trees fell where we
Oh my
are. Thank
gosh.
God everybody's pretty much okay, except there was a few situations that are very sad. But in that moment, I knew something was up. And then it was gale force winds and rain. You couldn't even see out the windows. That's how it was. It was flying. And I put a protection vortex around the house I'm at, my parents' house, and a huge part of this tree branch just missed the house. And I was like, I'm telling you, the protection worked. But that was definitely something to me that emphasizes not only is there big changes all over, like we don't get storms like that generally, like just
Hmm.
the level of change we're all
Hmm.
seeing things for the first time happen is pretty astounding right now. And I know we have some big events coming up in July. I would love for you to kind of sum up for everybody how June netted out first, given the energy we had, been talking about that was coming in June.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Well, I'm so glad that you and your parents' house are good. Like,
Thank you.
praise praise the Lord for the vortex and to even know to do a protection meditation like that and to put protection around that. And I think it's good for everybody listening to just know like you have that power, like whether
Work.
it's a house, your body, your pet, like your
Yep.
relationship, like you can put protection, you can put shields, like every time you walk out the door, you can shield yourself. Like this is something that we need to actively do because the world is full of polarity. It is full of dark and light and good and evil. And we
Yeah.
do have to, as light workers, bring in protection. So,
Truly, truly,
yeah.
truly, truly. And I think a lot of us forget that. I certainly get very lazy with it. And we don't, I think we still think, like, is my voice really that powerful? But that's all it takes. That's all it took. I didn't do anything fancy. I didn't have any time. I had a 60 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's worth it. And it really works because we are the protector, the sovereign protectors of our body and our space, to your point. So,
Yes. Yes. 1,000,000%. Okay. So June energy. So the biggest thing that happened in June, I think, was this Jupiter ingressing or moving into Cancer.
yep.
So it happened on June 9th, just a few weeks ago. And it really is this energy of this expansion of Cancer energy for everyone. It's the sense of the home. Of course, it makes sense that like you just had that thing with the home, and we have to remember
Yeah.
that Jupiter is not always like sunshine and rainbows. Jupiter is like, hey, I'm going to blow up a situation for people to start to pay attention. It's like imagine Jupiter similar to the sun, to be honest, but Jupiter is the biggest planet in the solar system. So it's like imagine shining this
Mm,
huge
right.
spotlight on whatever needs to be examined, which is also why it's interesting that like the United States and anyone who, is in this political climate that we're in right now, that
Oh,
we're seeing what's going on with the homeland, right? That like
yeah.
there were missiles dropped and bombs dropped, and this has just been this expansion of let's see what's going on with the United States of America, who's a Cancer, and that's why there's such a focus on this. So that's on the collective level. Now, when we look about on the internal level, this is a time of coming into our bodies. This is a time of healing our mental health. This is a time of healing. Like literally, it's kind of like we talked about this on the phone the other day. It's like this is the last train of let's heal the ancestral wounds and the family
Let's do
stuff
it.
and the stuff that we have been like, okay, I'm working on, my health or my body stuff or
Yeah.
my relationship stuff or whatever it is that's some type of generational pattern. Like this is it. This is the time that we do it because
Yeah.
Jupiter does come in and it shows you, hey, here's where you still have some stuff to work on. I'm going to make it real clear AF. And I'm going to bless you with it though, And
Yeah.
I think there's also this piece that sometimes we have, we live in a world of independence, of I have to be on my own, I have to do things by myself. And the Cancer energy asks us and is like, please ask for help. Please get support. Please allow yourself to be mothered, allow yourself to nurture others, allow yourself to just nurture you, whatever that looks like. And it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. It's kind of like this real dissolution of the ego and coming back into the heart, even though we're
Love
tired,
that.
even though we've been
Yeah.
trying, right? But just really being like, okay, I'm going to allow myself to rest and nest within me and allow other people to come and support me as well and trust that things are always going to work out and happen, especially in these regards to home, food, land, body, mama, daddy, like whatever, not daddy Saturn this time, like the big brother Jupiter, like
Yeah.
we big bro. So really coming into all those Cancerian themes.
It's been an interesting ride for me over here. It hits me pretty hard because my wound is in the sign of Cancer, my Chiron, and so it brings up all the darkest shit for me. But not even just dark shit, also like those little tendrils left of healing the
Mm-hmm.
subconscious wounds. It's very ancestral.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much like, why can't I move forward? Like there's often this feeling I feel, and I know others with this feel where you feel the block. You feel,
Totally.
and what I'm learning is it's not a block, it's the hundreds of thousands of ancestors that did it the other way in the line. And
Mm,
they don't mean to do this, but their energy, quite literally, because it's in the line, is like pulling you. Like in my case, none of them were ever going to be on stage the way I'm going to be. None
totally.
of them, and they were there. I have a long line of psychics, and they all hit it, and they were killed for it. So was I. So
Mm,
it's very much like I feel this, like, the divine's like, go, pushing me, and the
yeah,
line is like, oh, look out, you're gonna get criticized, and I there's that tension. But I also feel the body stuff. That's a real thing. I've been focused a lot on physical movement, which of course I'm just a better human when I do that to everyone that isn't.
totally. We all are, it's like
Yeah,
we're not meant to just be sitting around in front of a box every day.
no. And I love how you said, I think on our last episode, like Cancer is our original, it's the body, which is the original home. Like the body is the home, right? The physical shelter we have is all nothing if we don't feel safe in this body.
Yeah,
So I really feel that. It's powerful.
absolutely.
Yeah. But
Absolutely.
there is this energy right now of um breaking these old patterns and these old ways once and for all, which people are wondering, well, how do I do that? It's a simple choice to just
Hmm.
decide. And then, how you're doing it? You do the opposite of the feeling you feel. Like,
Totally.
because I'm learning that with these emotions, a lot of us feel, which obviously can hold us back, it's held me back for a long time. It has to be we feel it, but we don't lean into everything or act
Yeah.
from every feeling. And that
Yes.
takes a lot of like um courage, but I think it also takes a lot of like really pausing and saying, wait a minute. Because the darkness for me will pull me in. And then all I have to do is consciously remember, call back the light. I literally will say,
Yes.
Divine, put me back in the light, 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 like literally. And I'm just like
Mhm.
back in it, you know? So we
Mhm.
have to honor we have the power, the throat, the throat, the throat, the
Mhm.
throat, especially when you're speaking from your heart up through your throat. That's it. This is where you gotta go right here. But
Totally.
it's like,
Yeah.
put me back in the light. It's that simple. Because the
Yeah.
darkness on earth, we're in a purge right now, especially the next like 5, 6 years is going to be a purge, a shadow, and the light
Mhm.
workers have to be in the light. We can't get, swooped into the shadows. We have to be the torch bearers. So it takes
Exactly.
a lot of stamina and
Oh,
steady,
yeah. Yeah.
steadfast. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to recommend to everybody listening my favorite book in the whole world, actually. Well, so, okay, I have three favorite books. This is number
Okay.
three.
Oh, I
Number
love
one is The
this.
Alchemist. Number two is You Are a Badass. Number three is this one, which is called Outwitting the Devil by
Uh-huh.
Napoleon. Do you know this book?
I do.
Okay, this is the best book ever. So, straight up, he has a full on channeled conversation with the devil. And he's like, if you could do anything to take over humanity, what would you do? And it's funny because this is like a famous ChatGPT prompt that, we see on like Instagram or whatever people are doing.
Yeah.
But this is the original where he channeled this back in like the 1940s. And the devil said, I will bring in corruption to the government,
Yep.
to the schools, to religion, and I will make people feel that they are not worthy, that they cannot do things on their own. I will make them codependent. I will make them feel like they are not good enough. And it's like that is all of the shadow, even with Cancer energy, because Cancer energy is the mother, it's the source of creation. And that's God, goddess, right? It's like we
That's right.
are, I think we even said this in the last one. It's like we are just images of God, goddess. Like we
That
are that. We are literally here to be that. And so anything that is throwing you off, like you get to remember, oh, this is false. This is actually a false narrative. Like this is not me. This is literally whatever you want to call it, the darkness, the devil, the evil, whatever forces. But like this is, and we have to have polarity even to say, let me swing, let me see this so it can swing me back into my truth. But you have to know what your truth is so that when you get swung out, you say, that's not
love
the real
that.
me. I come back to my truth.
Mic drop, swing me back to my truth. Oh, hell yeah. That is what it takes. And, there's a lot of I don't know why this is coming through, but why are we questioning it? There's a lot of avoidant patterns in the collective right now and avoiding
Mm.
things. And I certainly resonate with being an avoidant. We're not anxious over here. We're just avoidant. So,
I see the
there's this
energy.
energy. Yeah, there's this energy of like, we're going to have to look. And that's individual in our lives. But then that's what's happening at a collective level where we are being forced to look right at it, to look right at the mirror, right at the shadow, and right at again, I've ranted about this so many times on my Instagram. The individualistic mindset was invented by the darkest forces there is in the cosmos. Because when we are individualistic, we are tyrants.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We have that capability in this form with the consciousness level Earth has. It won't always be like that. We're rising
Mm-hmm.
out of that right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why this Aquarius energy is it's not, oh, I'm deciding to care about other people. We are being forced to
Totally.
realize that we are one with other people.
Yes.
This is
Yes.
not, and this is where I think the waters get muddied. I'm a little annoyed with the sovereignty conversations because it's just more excuses of like, you're on your journey, I'm on mine. You figure it out. I'll figure.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little the boundaries thing.
Yeah.
We'll go on a rant about that later, but there's definitely some weird new spiritual language, old matrix shit with that. My whole thing is, I remember why I came here. I know a lot of people watching this remember. And I know it's been hard for so many of us that know we came here to lead and to show what it's like to really care about self and other. But I do think that tension, talk about being pulled into the old way, there's a tug of war right now with that,
Mm-hmm.
because we're still going through a period where we have to figure out how to really show up fully as our real selves. And that
Mm-hmm.
does take a lot of self nurturing. And then it becomes like, well, how much, do I have any more capacity for other people? But the goal
Right.
is that in the capacity we hold for other people, it's actually pouring into us. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
this Uranus Gemini we're gonna get into, there's new communities being birthed. I'm not sure, I told you this on the phone the other day, I'm not sure I can do any more work by myself in like, you
Mm-hmm.
know, in solitude and hermit mode. I don't know if I can do any more
Oh,
hermit modes. I think
yeah.
we're all a little tired of it.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, you just said so many beautiful, amazing things. First, I want to just touch on like like speaking, talking about mic drops, like, but the sovereignty piece, I think is really, it's a really interesting code because there's this piece of being sovereign, because I had to work on being sovereign a lot in my
Oh
journey
yeah,
because I have so much Gemini energy that sometimes I didn't even realize this,
to
right? But
merge.
I was like waiting, I was really waiting for validation. I was living on other people's opinions and I didn't
Sure.
even realize it, right? And I always was in this like, oh, what do people think about me? Also, so subconscious. I didn't even realize this. I went to a transformational training once and I remember that I said something to someone who was speaking.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I was like, oh my gosh, I think that they didn't understand what I said. So I went up to them and their whole entourage, and I was like, you guys realize that I meant this, right? And then there was a guy who was one of the leaders, and he was like, why do you care so much if like they got you right or not? And that is a shadow
Totally.
of Gemini energy that it's good we're bringing this up because when Uranus, the planet of change and speed and new things and ideas, moves in there, like we are going to be faced with two things. It's either, oh my gosh, I care so much about what everybody thinks, or I'm going to take the higher road and I'm going to still be myself and not be like, F you, I'm being me. But I'm going to be sovereign in the sense of I get to still be myself and be in my truth and honor you. And if you can't honor me, then we're not a fit. And, it's very interesting
Big
with this
drop.
energy that you just said too. Yeah, it's like, okay, there's a difference between, hey, let's work on something together and make this work out for both of us
Yes.
versus actually just dealt with this past week. Someone literally saying, there's nothing in this for me. So why would I go the extra mile to do this? And it was one of those moments where I personally, who was raised on like, you go the extra mile, you be extra nice, you almost be a people pleaser, right? Where that was like, oh, but I could have easily fought back and been like, well, because you said you were going to, or because da 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 da.
Sure.
It's this like gossipy energy actually. And it feels like high school, right? It feels like even less than high school. It's like the middle school drama where we have nothing better to do. So this is what we do. And it's like a Gossip Girl, like, teenage show.
Yep.
But we're going to be presented with a lot more of these opportunities. And this is the
I feel
time that
that.
we use sovereignty in the right way. And we say, okay, you know what? I'm going to be cool. I'm going to be in my own integrity. I'm going to stand in my power, but in a compassionate, loving way. If someone is triggering me, I get to look at why are they triggering me? Why did that event trigger? Is it because I think that everyone should be a certain way? Is it because someone did that to me before and it never got resolved? Or is it that I can just now come to peace with those triggers and then say, okay, well, I'm going to do it this way, or hey, this is why, or just not respond, to be honest, to that
Right.
level. And to really be able to actually set the tone for this is the level of responsibility, this is the level of kindness, this is the level of actually leading from love rather than creating more and more separation.
Mic drop. And that is the biggest issue I have right now with I'm sovereign, I have my boundaries. I mean, if one more person talks to me about their boundaries, I might lose my damn mind. It's like, it's just more separation. It's fine. I hope everybody's happy with their boundaries in their life. For me, I have a different perspective where when someone crosses a line with me, then we can talk about it. But I think that there's this big checklist right now, and it's just to me more of an excuse to not go deep with people. I have this capacity, I've talked about it very deeply. It's part of my, intense loneliness in this life so far, where I have this capacity to go very deep with people. But I'm learning, and a lot of people have fallen out of my life that are not willing to do that. They're not really willing to help me to the point that like I deserve. Like they're going to put themselves first and that's their right. I'm just not somebody that's always going to like put myself first if I could help other people. I'm just not wired for that. It goes against my heart. It goes against my values. It feels like young soul shit, to be honest. Like, I'm just not here to just do everything I want to do. And whenever somebody like asks me to maybe get a little uncomfortable, I'm like, no, no, that crosses my boundaries. I'm out. Like, it's just getting a little, I just don't want to be in relationships with people that are like that. And that's okay. It's just a different way to walk through Earth. But I do feel that there's a lot of tension right now because we're being asked to get closer to build the new Earth, but it feels like people are getting further away. The technology, AI, there's a lot of competition in the spiritual space. It's no different. There's just a lot of this competition energy that I do not get down with. And my whole thing is we have to, we're in these lifetimes and we are in the material world. And I know we need material things to survive here and thrive. I get it. But there is just in these moments currently, I want everybody to think about like the people you push away and the people that you know, put your material ambitions ahead of. I want you to really think about if you're going to be happy at the end of your life with all that material shit. Because true enlightenment, we've talked about this, is at the end of the material world. That's the goal. Now, not everybody cares about enlightenment. That's fine. We're all going to be forced to care about it, though, in this lifetime and this time on Earth because there's too much greed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
I feel that even some of the highest spiritual leaders I know are panicking. They're getting a little panicky with what's going on in the collective. Everybody's starting to hoard the resources, right? And me, listen to my message. And it's just very, to me, it's gross. I don't like it. It goes against my values with community. And I'm just so curious, like, how we're going to all really come together and build community if everybody's obsessed with their own individual platform. It's like, I want to grow my Instagram. I want to have the biggest YouTube. And I'm thinking, this looks like the old way. And again, I'm not casting judgment. I'm just not seeing a difference. And I'm interested in the new way for Earth. And no matter how uncomfortable that is, for me personally, I have sacrificed a lot materially to stay on the path that I'm on, the spiritual path. And a lot of people, I'm not seeing that same thing because we have to sacrifice something. You
Oh,
cannot just have it all and then still be like in the highest light. We're operating from ego. It's just what it is, right? So I have found that in relationships recently that have fallen out of my life, which we've made peace with, these new relationships have come in, deep friendships that I'm being held with more compassion than ever. There has not been one discussion about boundaries, not one. And
mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, again, like if we're in the perfect alignment with the right people at a certain period in our life, is there even a need for all that conversation? And
Exactly.
perhaps sovereignty and boundaries and all these things come up because we're falling out of resonance with each other.
Completely.
And
Oh,
I've made my
completely.
peace with that. And that's the thing. Like, I want everybody to understand back to this devil shit, the codependency, thinking you need people, thinking that without this person in my life, this won't happen, or I need them for this. And that's when we get into dangerous territory. So I feel that this Uranus and Gemini is going to blow up a lot of communities, a lot of friend groups, a lot of people are going to be pulled out of each other's lives. But I
Yes.
also think that creates space for like those of us that need to come together that haven't even had the space to meet yet. So
Yes.
sorry that was a little bit long-winded, but hopefully
Oh,
there's some gems in there for people.
it was perfect. And I think that there's this piece here where you're absolutely right that this is going to shake up communities. This is going to shake up cities. This is going to
Oh,
shake
I
online
feel
communities.
that. Whew.
Totally. Like
Sweating.
presences, like there's going to be, I think, another COVID type of energy
Yeah.
that happens. And we have to have the deconstruction before we can reconstruct.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's going to happen. And I love what you said about the people that you don't have to have all these conversations with around the boundaries, around the sovereignty. It's because you finally just met your matches. You finally just found the people where you get each other. And there's always going to be like funny boundaries. Like I think I
Yeah.
even told you this one for me. It's like my little ADHD brain cannot listen to voice notes that are longer than 4 minutes. And it's like that's not even a boundary. That's a thing of like, hey, I just can't listen to this. Like, can
Yeah.
you right? It's little things where it's like
Yeah.
mama, it's not working. Right? Like
Yep.
there's funny things. But it's like the boundary things become conversations of how can we support each other better in ways that also are not life or death. And maybe there are ways that are, or maybe there are things that are feeling life or death, but it's like, wow, the fact that you were so vulnerable to share this with me means that
Yeah.
you've also done your work too. And that, like, I also
Love
don't
that.
need you to show up like this or not show up like this because at the end of the day, and here's going to be
True.
the biggest mic drop, like Uranus and Gemini energy, let people reveal themselves to you, right? Because people will always show you who they really are when there's a stressful situation, when there's money involved, when there's timelines of money involved, when there's relationships, when there's integrity, like let them. It's like the Mel Robbins theory, let them. But like for me, I like to say, let them reveal themselves to you because we always see who people are. I don't really believe in like, I'm going to give this person so many more chances because they're going to reveal themselves. And it's kind of like, why waste your energy on someone or something when there are how many billion people in this world that are waiting for a person like you in their life, you know, and that
Mm,
we get to actually choose
right.
what is the vibration that I feel in myself when I'm with this person. It's not
Yeah.
what is their vibe, it's what is my vibe when I'm with them.
Yeah.
Because that's what matters, like who we morph into when we're with a certain person. Like if you're excited, if you're fun, if you feel seen with that person, be with that person. If that person is friends with all your friends, but when you're with them, you're like, I don't know if like they really like me, or I don't know if I really like them. There's just something weird, or we were on a car ride and they only talked about themselves the entire time, or they were gossiping, or, you know, like they're just always complaining. Like, is that the vibration that you want to put yourself in by being in their energy? So I think that that's the good thing to remember is that it's not about what's their vibe. It's what does my vibe turn into when I'm with them. Because as we move into Gemini, Gemini is the chameleon. You're going to adapt to whatever situation. So
Totally.
you better know yourself and you better check your energy.
Mic drop. And, that was really beautifully articulated. I want everybody to really sit with this prompt, this reflection that I feel coming through me right now. Before you act, before you say anything, I want you to really think about like what will you be the most proud of in how you showed up in any given situation. When you look back, will you be proud that, that you showed up a certain way? And that could go, in screaming at somebody and finally speaking your truth to being loving with someone and being kind. Like it doesn't have to look a certain way. What I've been really feeling is I'm proud of how I poured into a lot of people in my life with so much love. I have this big heart, huge capacity to love. It's not of this world. I truly understand it isn't. And I've rarely met people that can meet me fully there. You're one of them. Thank you. But I'm so proud that I poured into those people for the time we were together or spent time together or whatever it was. And I want you to just really think about everybody listening. What will you be the most proud of in the way you showed up in any given situation? Even if it's dark, even if it's betrayal, even if it's a relationship is falling apart, or even in career. I feel that at the end of, I just think a lot about the end of this lifetime. I know it's going to come fast. And I think about like, how will I look back and what will I be really proud of, you
Mm,
know? And the money in the bank account, I won't, oh, out of the body, don't need it anymore.
totally,
I mean, it'll
totally.
be good for my kids, but it's just like, there's a lot of perspective right now. So let's talk about July because I know this event is coming. Talk to us, I guess maybe talk to us about how July, I forget when this Uranus event happens, but how does July kick off? Because even, we are going to have a part of Cancer season in July, and Cancer season is like, can we take care of each other? Like
Right.
all this boundary shit. That's all I hear. I don't hear anybody like, how
Totally.
do we take care of each other? That's not my job. It's like, then what are
Yeah.
you here for?
Yeah.
Just the people that feed into you and that, are your boyfriend and just the certain ones, right?
Mhm,
But I think
mhm.
that there's this real need for the infinity loop to go back and forth, right? Not
Yes.
just what am I getting, how is everybody taking care of me? Just more
Right.
selfishness. It's like we give what we get. We get back what we give. We know this, right? But it's getting a little bit lost in the shuffle. So Cancer to me is all like the ultimate mother, taking care and
Definitely.
nurturing. But
Yeah.
talk to us about July.
Totally. Well, first, I just think like, on this note of Cancer, at the end of June, June 25th, we have the new moon in Cancer, which then we are
Mhm.
in this 2 week period that leads us into July.
Yep.
And the thing that I even want to comment on that you said about with like, where are we pouring our energy into, right? I want to give this example of this amazing woman named Selena Sue. She has a book called Rich Relationships, and I went to this event that she did in New York a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Her entire thing is she says, you guys need to connect. She's like, be breathtakingly generous. And she's a Cancer. So this is a great example of Cancer energy. And her entire book is about how when you pour into people, that is the richness. And
Yes.
one rich
Oh,
relationship is
I
better
love
than
that.
100 surface or casual relationships, because we can have all these people, we can have, our Instagram connections, our YouTube followers, our person, whoever. But like, if you can actually pour into those people, first of all, it's a win-win situation because you're like, how can I support you? Who are you? And, to be honest, if you're a business owner, you probably don't have time to do all of that, to be like, let me just connect with this random person and maybe it'll be good.
Yeah.
But when
Mm.
you look at it from the lens of, okay, if I were to take maybe 3 hours a week and have 3 hour long phone calls, or if I were to have six 30-minute phone calls with different people, and I just really sat and I listened and I connected and we talked about how could we support each other? Who are you? What do you need? Whether it's business, whether it's an old friend, whether it's a college friend, whether it's a childhood, whoever, a new person. Like if you were to do think about if you did that, every other week. So you were talking to, let's say, like 10 people a month. That's 120 people a year that you could be having these deep connections with and going deeper, right? And that is what really is really what America is missing and what America is needing. And when we have this Uranus moving into Gemini, it is going to force this, because as so many things are happening and moving, we have a lot of big Cancer energy coming up. We have Venus will be moving into Cancer. We'll have, obviously Mercury's in Cancer right now. Like we have so many things that are going to be coming up. And there's this prompting of like, can you guys actually band together the way that COVID had us band together, right? The way that the LA fires had people band together. There will be events this year that will force the collective in the United States and North America to band together in a way that they never have before. It's going to be really powerful. And that is why July 7th, we have this Uranus. So Uranus is the planet of a lightning bolt. It is change. It is new
Yeah.
things. Uranus also rules the weather. So the fact that like we have these crazy storms on the East Coast, we have a massive heat wave. Last night in Lake Tahoe, there was a massive storm and 8 people died. And, there's these things that are going to be happening all over the world, and also in particularly the US, because there's this spotlight, this expansion happening on the homeland.
Yep.
And it's really going to ask us to shift the way that we do community, and to
Yeah.
also, to your point of the boundaries and then the sovereignty and the I got to do it on my own, it's going to say we have to look at the way that we're looking at things being so black and white, because the Gemini energy is about polarity, it's about duality, it's about either I'm this or I'm this, and it's hard for me to be in between, and it's gray and it's whatever. But
Yeah.
it's going to say like, hey, talk about your feelings, communicate about what's right, communicate with compassion, not just like you voted for Trump and you didn't and blah blah blah, and being so angry like,
Right.
how did my friend do this, we're not friends anymore. It's like, no, we got to dissolve all of
I
that,
love it.
and there has to be no fear in around your communication. And there also, more importantly than that, there has to be no judgment. That's what is going to be asked of us, because when we judge is when we create separation. And the only way that we can actually create these communities that come together is by us being the leaders. So when we see like, this isn't working, this isn't happening, it's asking you to be the leader and stand up and be like, I'm going to be that breathtakingly generous one. I'm going to create the sisterhood and the brotherhood and the family, whatever that looks like for me, because no one else is doing it, or there's, maybe 100 people doing it. My personal mentor at this time, Jessica Zweig, is such a great example of this, because She is the most generous person I've ever met, sharing all of her resources, sharing connections, sharing, let me introduce you to this person. And like, if we can all lead like that, like literally like a queen who has all of the most abundant resources,
Right.
how you receive more and more abundance. And that's how we drop this dialogue and this separation and literally, to quote, Paul McCartney, come together.
Hmm. Wow, babe, that was beautifully articulated. I really feel that. And I love that you are offering to all of us right now to really hold that vision because, we are the ones creating this new earth and we have to hold this vision. Tiffany Paul, she always talks about her brand is all about the highest vision. And I'm
Mhm.
seeing how as a collective, we're all really struggling to like hold the highest vision. We see it and then we like lose it because something happens in the 3D, but we
Mhm.
know every single thing happening right now is part of what's supposed to happen. I know how that makes everybody feel. I get
Yeah,
it. It doesn't mean we accept it and we love it. We don't agree with it. You think I want war? It's just
totally.
there is a lot of completion of a lot of cycles that are literally thousands of years old. I don't know what else to tell everybody. People look at these conflicts and they think, oh, today. I'm like, you have no idea how long like, there's so much energy that has to get cleared. And
Totally.
so there's energy in the land, there's energy in people, in ancestral lines. There's energy in, business structures, government structures. Everything is energy. And
Yep.
so there's this, but at the same time, what's happening, and I feel this with this Uranus transit, there is a enormous amount of light pouring into the planet. So as much as
Mhm.
it looks like things are dismantling, there is so much light pouring in, which is why, and this is a topic I want to bring up with you. Every day feels different right now. And last year wasn't like that. And the year prior, I've never felt a year like this where I don't know what I'm going to wake up to tomorrow. And I can
Mm,
have a routine and I can have, this whole plan, but I truly have never felt such different energy every single day this year.
mm,
The
mhm,
last 2 weeks, every single day has felt different. I'm like, and it's requiring this presence. It's
mhm,
requiring flexibility and adaptability, right?
mhm,
And I think this is a question for everyone to think about. Like, okay, I can have my routine, and we're talking about cancer in the body and all these things, but like, what is that point when we're forcing something, when we really just don't feel it, and what is the point when we actually don't let our feelings stop us and we still like go do the jumping jacks? Like, I don't
mm.
have that answer, but I do think that's a nuanced answer for everyone to think about because right now I've been really playing with this notion of like, pushing myself, forcing a little bit, but then also like, I'm not going to force this. What do you think about that?
Totally. Oh my gosh. I am just at this point where like there's no forcing allowed anymore. Like not at all. Like there's definitely doing things, right?
Yeah.
But I think that the number one thing is that it does come back to the body and to the energy of like you have
Yeah.
to be in the place that you just flow so that there's not a force. But you can't flow if your energy is off. You can't flow if your physical body is off. So
Yeah.
that means that instead of like forcing yourself to go do like a Barry's boot camp or whatever workout, it's like I, no matter what, commit to taking a walk. I, no matter what, commit to eating the foods that I know make me feel the best, or taking the supplements, or doing the functional testing that is going to actually get me what is going on at the root, right? Like figuring these things out, because that's then when you can build the stamina. But like you can't do any of it. And it kind of actually takes out the energy of forcing
Yeah.
when you're in alignment, whether that's through microdosing, whether that's through whatever the thing is that's bringing you into this is who I am and this is how my energy best is. Like you have to get to know your energy. You really
Oh,
have
yeah.
understand it. Otherwise, there's going to be the discrepancy. And that's when it's going to feel like you're forcing and forcing and forcing because you're doing something that's actually not meant for you or that your body literally cannot handle.
Yeah. And there's also this game right now of really working with our mind. I almost said overcoming, LOL. No. It's
Hmm.
it's it's working with it because I know how good I feel after I do physical movement, but my mind is the lazy part of me, or like my mind is like, oh. So it's really like I think embodiment is the key. Like, where is this
Hmm.
energy coming from? Is it my mind? Am I tired just mentally? Is it, what would this really help me? There's all the astrology this year is forcing us into the present moment. That's all I can say. It's
Yes.
like a requirement. There's not even like, oh, I can't really, and I think about these plans I have. I have some things going on this summer, but I'm like, we'll see, there's just so much unknown. And
Oh my
I
God.
think a lot of us are living through periods of massive amounts of unknown. I am. It's like it's unknown, but I also
Oh, yeah.
know. I also
I mean,
know.
I want to also put out like you and I are both in our 30s. We have both we're living at our parents right now because we're in transitions. And I
Yes.
think that this is something to talk about of like, we both are successful women. We
Yes.
both are women who have friends and have lives. And we also came back home,
Yeah.
right? We came back, quote unquote, to home, which also is a place of nurturing yourself. And I think that this is about dissolve the ego,
Big
right? Like
time.
dissolve
Big
anything of
time.
like, oh man, I'm doing this, or like, I don't have this thing or whatever. And it's
Yep.
like, no, but what do you have? Oh my gosh, you have a home that you can go live in. You have a decent enough relationship with your family that you can live there
Yeah.
and like be supported and be loved and be, like go to bed every night and be safe, right? Like it's so beautiful.
It is.
And the
It is.
Uranus energy, like I fully agree. It's like there is this light that's going to be pouring in because what Uranus does is it creates a lightning bolt effect. And Gemini is the sign of the messenger. Just like as Uranus was
Yeah.
in Taurus for the last 8 years, I know for me, and I know for you too, we both had our own individual glow ups that started with worthiness. I
Yes.
think we fully have aged backwards. Like so many people in the spiritual space literally age backwards because
Yes.
they're on a journey of being pristine, being crystalline, being integrous, being responsible, being compassionate, and like truly being that with their heart. And that's Taurus. Taurus is natural beauty, right? It's all about
Yeah.
how is it that you value and take care of yourself. And if you looked at me 8 years ago, like, and same with you, we were in very different places in the way that we thought ourselves and our confidence and our self-esteem and the way that
Yeah.
we looked at and judged others, right? Which was all just us being projections of that. And so now it's like graduation, baby. Like this is the time that we know and we stand in our worthiness, we stand in our light. And the next 8 years is going to be let's stand in our community now. Let's
Yeah,
stand
for
as
real.
leaders and
That's
let's
right.
stand as messengers of light
That's
because
right.
the highest octave of Gemini is that you get out there and you be the teacher and you be the one that's like, I'm actually hosting the rally and we're all doing it together. And with my example, I lead and I shift the consciousness of the world.
Mic drop. Whew. I felt that. Thank you
Yeah,
for sharing
I
that.
have
That was
chills. I'm like, thank you.
potent.
Whoever pulled that through. Yep.
I love your soul. That was really powerful. Let's sit with that. You know, I I'm curious. So, what date is this Uranus and Gemini transit?
July 7th.
Oh God, on 7/7. Oh Lord.
7/7. Okay. And then get this. Then we have July 7th, Uranus and Gemini.
That's gonna be a
July
potent day.
4th, Venus and Gemini. So a few days before, Venus is also in there, which we love because Venus is like, let me help y'all. And then we have July 10th, full moon in Capricorn. So this is also going to be saying, let's activate the power, but also we are going to see structures in too much power and authority.
Oh
And then
yeah.
we're going to have a rebellion, I believe, around this time. And then Saturn retrograde. So we're coming back into, hey, let's make sure you learn that lesson. It's going to dip into Pisces. And then we have a Mercury retrograde happening in Leo on July 22nd.
Mm.
Which, I have to also mention the president of the United States is a Leo rising. So there's going to be this energy of, and he's also a Gemini, there's going to be an energy of like moving forward, going back. I mean, not that no one's not used to that, but like there's going to be even more of that on a collective level where there's going to be some confusion, there's going to be pride, there's going to be literally fire. because it's Leo, it's a fire sign. But what you get to do in your own heart is say, how is it that instead of me being so pissed off or so angry or whatever, let that fuel you to do something good and
Yeah.
to not sit around and complain, but
Yes.
actually take action then, bring your community together, do something good about all of this because
Yeah.
we don't need another hater. That's the
No.
thing. We don't need another hater. There's a lot of that happening. We don't need more of that.
No.
We need a lover.
Mm. Yes, we do. Yes,
Yeah.
we do. Oh,
Can
yes.
I get a lover?
I um I also think that there's power in this potent July every year with this seven. It's all seven
Really?
energy, right? And it is for those with psychic gifts, every July I'm like, oh boy, what's coming? And I predict for July, those that are channels or psychics that tune into energy, keep your channel open. This July will be like no other. Um,
Mm.
Last July, I received some of the most intense psychic information I've ever received, and it took me months to integrate it. It was very difficult for
Oh,
me. July is just a very potent time, and yet it's like the thick of summer, but it's
yeah,
such a spiritual time. Like,
totally.
I find that I'm all in the crown. That's why
Yeah.
physical movement is so important during mostly this time because
Yes.
we go up. And Gemini, I
Yeah.
don't think people talk about Gemini as a spiritual sign, but it definitely is.
Oh
It's
my gosh.
in
Yeah.
duality. It's so much about like Geminis can go woo, in the crown, a lot of air. And so there's a need to like bring that down.
It must be
And
grounded.
it
Yeah.
has to be grounded in. And I can
Yeah.
only imagine July is going to have some surprises with this Uranus. There's going to be big bang energy.
Literally. Literally.
I
Be
hope
your
we're all
lover
ready.
for your big bang.
Yeah. And actually, I wanted to talk to you about this. What do you, for those that are building community, I'm obviously one, you are one. What is this calling up in community leaders? What's the different like style of community building that this is gonna, I know it's a long transit. What will it be, 6, 7 years?
8 years.
8. Oh my God. But yeah, like what is it calling up? Is it because I'm a big believer that, with all the Aquarius energy we're in right now in Age of Aquarius, it's all about like everyone getting an equal voice at the table. So what is the
Mhm.
Uranus and Gemini like? What are the values around that when it comes to community, you think?
Oh my gosh, I love this. Well, we also have to, okay, the biggest energies are going to be the Uranus, right? But then what are the other outside forces? So the Pluto and Aquarius, we have Neptune that just moved into Aries, right? And then we
Yep.
also have Saturn and Aries. So we have this deep Aries energy, which is cardinal. This is like I'm starting things, I'm
Yep.
doing things, I'm going first. And then we have the fixed energy of Pluto and Aquarius. It's kind of like I'm holding it down. It's almost even a little bit militant, where it's like you get
Ah,
you get 10 minutes, you get 10 minutes. Like it's not like
yeah.
chaotic. But then
Yeah.
Gemini comes in here, and Gemini is chaotic, right? So
Yes.
like that is the shadow of the Gemini energy is that there can be this level of chaos. But when we say, okay, this is bringing it into the highest is that sharing circle. It is like, okay, everyone sitting in the mastermind. It's not just about teacher and student anymore. It's about,
Sure.
hey, also like, what's your opinion on what Shelly is going through, right? It's like we're all kind of in this like coaching and equal space for each other. And, I was telling you about this family constellations thing, which is so cool. I feel like this is actually a really good representation of what Gemini energy is going to be on this higher level,
Yeah.
is that we all have this opportunity to be channels for each other and to trust the other person's channel and
Yeah.
really trust the other person rather than being in fear of like, oh my gosh, I don't trust you. Like, are you going to betray me? Like, because somebody else that reminds me of you did this thing, or I don't know if I
Yep.
can trust you, right? It's like actually going into, I'm going to maybe trust and like intend that this person is going to do the right thing. And again, it comes back to like, let them show you, let them reveal themselves. It's kind of like instead of right off the bat being like, nope. Instead, we say, okay, I'm going to bring in all of my people. And as that happens, then we get to see the real true colors. And instead of even judging them, it's like, what if I could also be a teacher for them? What if I could
Yeah.
be an example for them? What if my light could also outshine some of their shadow so that they can pick up some of my light also, rather than staying stuck in their darkness.
Mic drop. Wow, that's powerful. The channeling for each other. That's a big controversial topic in the spiritual communities. That hits home for me. That's a big one because people have not liked that I get messages for them. They do not like
Mhm.
it. But
Mhm.
that's fine. We have made our peace with it. But it's interesting because you're right. It comes from that place of I know best, and it comes from that place of this person might betray me, or I can't really trust them, or it's interesting, because again, like in when we think about ancient times when we were in so many circles and sisterhoods in the temple and all these things, it required like
Yes.
trust, and there was a lot of betrayal. Of course, there was.
Oh, of
We're
course.
healing
Yeah.
a
The
lot of
whole
that.
Bible is about betrayal.
Right,
Yeah.
but there's this energy of are we going to choose to trust again, which we know is the whole reason to do any healing in general. For those of
Yeah.
us that have had our heart broken, which is, oh, let me see, every single person on the planet, you
Yeah.
know, what's the whole point in healing if we don't trust again? So I love that. And I also think there's a lot of themes around this when it comes to the communities people will feel called to join. Can I trust
Mhm.
this? And the frequency of truth is so potent, especially now, and it will be through this transit and whatever unfolds the rest of this year. I don't think it's going to be hard for people to sniff it out if it's not of integrity anymore.
Absolutely.
But
It's
there's a lot
yeah.
of give, that's where the positive sovereignty conversation is important, where it's like, where are we giving our power away? Of course, we don't want to do that, but can't we hold our power and also hear other perspectives that could very
Absolutely.
well help us? They show me all the time. The higher realms laugh at us because they're like, y'all think you're so individual in those bodies, yet all of you have codes for each other, but you don't listen to each other enough. You don't. And this has played out for me in different close relationships I've had, and it is what it is, right? And we know the big lesson of thinking we have all the answers and we know everything. Oh boy, that's I know that contradicts some of these memes on Instagram of like you have everything within you. I know this is
Mm.
confusing, but I'm telling you, we are our biggest block. We are, right?
Oh,
We cannot
absolutely.
see our blind spots, and we don't even see how we come off. Like that's why, to your point earlier, like you have this strong intention to come off in this beautiful way, but you don't know how people are perceiving you, and we can't worry about it. But we hold codes for each other. We all do. And to have enough humility to like sit down and like listen takes a lot of courage. But the thing is, I think some of us are afraid to like hear it because things might change in our life if we hear those things. Some of this stuff is there's no going back once you hear. Um, but also at the same time, people are learning to that they're on their own journey at the same time and they have to go through their own experiences, and we're not going to be saved from every experience. Like we're going to be pushed through the lessons regardless. But I think that if we all get more comfortable sharing with each other and allowing each other to reflect back, to really positively mirror things, even if they're hard to hear, we're going to be better off.
Absolutely, because we need to hear what other people say. Because, like you said, we're all just stuck in our own little bubbles. And like that is what this Uranus and Gemini is doing, is it's saying, I'm going to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to
Yeah.
let that voice crack open, to let that channel crack open. One of my clients today was like, how do I open up my spiritual gifts even more? I feel like they're paused. And she literally just helped someone
Mm.
get pregnant. And it's like, hello, like there's a huge gift right there. And the more that
Yeah.
you tap into, like, try giving someone a meditation, try closing your eyes and being like, I think that this is maybe something that you could do, right? Like, just you have to play. It's a muscle that you flex, and so you have to keep doing it. It's literally like going to the gym. The more that you show up, the more that you try. I didn't just learn how to read charts out of nowhere. I mean, I kind of did, but like, after I did a certain amount of charts, and I was like, oh, okay, I easily know this and it's no big deal, right? Like you memorize it, it gets
Right.
to become a part of you. And that is, I think, what this is doing. It's like, it's actually activating. If you literally imagine a lightning bolt striking you and it's like, boom, like there's my code. This is the opportunity for you to
Ah,
learn what codes you hold, but it's up to you. This is why we also have Saturn and Aries at the same time, because it's saying now also come in and master yourself and be brave enough to
Right.
put that gift out into the world.
Right.
And Pluto and Aquarius is like, and do it for the world. Don't just do it for yourself and do it only for the internet. Like go out and actually be a part of the revolution.
Mic drop. Please don't do it just for the internet. This shit's fickle.
Oh my
But
gosh. Hold on really
but
fast. I was watching that show. Did you ever watch that show called The Good Place?
no.
Oh my gosh, it is the funniest show. I'm like not a huge TV person, but this is so funny. And it's like with Ted Danson. Basically, they die. They think they're in the good place, aka heaven, but it's really the bad place. And it's this whole
Oh,
thing where then Ted Danson in this one episode on the final season, he's like, it's fake, like Instagram. And it's just funny because it's like we have to remember social media is fake. Like social media is this great place that allows us to connect, but like please if you are still thinking about comparison, if you are still like scrolling all day, like do something to get yourself off of it, whether it's honestly for me, microdosing changed my life where now I'm just like, it's my phone. Like I don't really like need to be
yeah.
on to be
You're
looking at
not
how
attached
many
to it.
likes I get, right? It's like do whatever practice that you need to do to deprogram from the deep program, right? Like really let that go.
Yes, we are going to be pushed in that because we're we're living where, I mean, AI is obviously going to start to have a huge impact. It already is. We're going to
Yeah.
see it in the next 2 years. It's coming fast. And they show me it's to free up the human energy, so we can do creative things for soul satisfaction and not be sucked into all these. You do realize that, let me go on a little, sorry, now we got to lean in. You do realize you know it's coming.
I
You do
know.
realize that the 9 to 5 and all that crap was invented from the Industrial Revolution, which resulted in labor unions because people were worked to death. Okay,
Hmm.
it's like slavery energy. Okay. You do realize that the modern working way is rooted in slavery codes. Now I'm going to say this publicly. I've been channeling about this and they're like, now I'm like, you want me to talk about slavery publicly? And they're like, oh yeah. I'm like, okay, great. So everything is rooted in slavery energy. Okay. In
Wow.
America, but it's worldwide. So it's like, this, do we really think that it's the highest love, light, and truth of the divine source, God creator, for us to just work and work and work and work 14-hour days? Who do you think's benefiting from that? You think that's of the divine? That's why I've always been a controversial, talker on this stuff with like hard work. I'm like, well, what is hard work? Is it 14
Mhm.
hours? Is it 8 days a week? You tell me, and nobody can define it. So I'm gonna ask everybody to just watch how this dismantles, implodes from within. The way we think about work. Remember, you were programmed to think that way, right? And so
Mm,
with AI, for whatever reason, it is happening at a cosmic level. Just because these technologies come in doesn't mean we have to be absolute tyrants with them, right? It's like anything else. AI is going to free up time for the human body with its brain and its heart to do things from a more soul satisfaction vantage point. Okay? Because 99% of the jobs are not soul satisfying. People
mm,
are in them to pay their bills.
yes.
Okay? That's going to be a big shift on earth. We're going to see it in this lifetime. Now, what's important to say lastly about this is that the way we think about work is all ass backwards. I just established it's rooted in slavery codes. Now, when we start to unravel that and start to really think about these notions that I know have people have struggled with, where it's like the highest spiritual teachings are about like work from your joy and the money will be there. And people cannot understand that. It's like, what do you mean? You want me to work from my joy and the money's going to show up? And like the higher realms are like, yes. Like the higher realms are like, yes. And so and they're screaming at me because money will not come to me the same way anymore. It will not come to me from working all the time. I'm being forced. And
Hmm.
so there's this real opportunity for all of us to really look at where we wear it like a badge of armor when we're
Yeah.
working all the time. And then, of course, casting judgment on people that, just aren't working and they're lazy, right? Or they're whatever because I'm working all the time. And I just want everybody to really hold the mirror up and say, Are you actually happy working the way you're working? I don't care how much money you're making because we know that's a joke, right? So I predict the Uranus and Gemini energy is going to be the beginning of this radical shift in how we work. And it's radical. It's not going to be subtle, guys. This is
Yes,
why AI is happening at such an accelerated rate. There's going to be hundreds of thousands of jobs like gone, like almost overnight. Now, I
oh, for
need
sure.
you like, and this is the thing. We have not been pouring our energy into building and creating for the highest good of all, right? And so we have to really look at where actually, to me, working hard and like working all the time is one of the laziest things we can do. Because when we work in an autonomous way like that, and we think more time, I'm doing it, we're not actually in our heart energy and we're not actually contributing something beneficial for all. We're working from
Right.
a space of scarcity, right? And so it's
Totally.
going to force everyone, and they're showing it. It's pretty over. It's going to happen pretty much overnight. And I'm mentally preparing for this. And I mean, I feel right at home in this because I have, in the last few years, I cannot work. I cannot work the way I once could. I feel like something's wrong
Um,
with me half the time. And
yeah,
I know a lot of us feel this way. And it's because we've been prepared for this shift. So, whatever is going to get automated, it's just to allow us to have space to really create, like bring through magical shit that could never get created in 14-hour days. We're too burnt out.
totally. Totally, totally. I mean, you can go look at my Instagram, and I completely trained my AI system to build this for me that I would have no ability to do. And I have zero shame in it because it's
No.
an extension of me. You get to create your AI to become an extension of you.
Yeah.
And here's the most mind-blowing thing to conclude what you just said about slavery codes and the Industrial Revolution. Listen to this. Uranus was discovered in, I have the exact dates,
Oh,
1781,
oh
which
shit.
was the exact time of the Industrial Revolution.
Hmm.
Meaning, Uranus is discovered, Industrial Revolution starts. However many, hundreds of years later that we're at now, and it's moving signs, we are starting an entirely new revolution because Pluto also just entered into Aquarius. And these two components together are absolutely annihilating those old codes.
Yeah, it's real.
Gemini and Aquarius together, ooh,
It's
like this
real.
is all about newness. This is all about creating something totally different that we've never seen before. And this is people based and people
Yeah.
focused and communication focused. And so there is no going back to the sitting at the jobs, to the sitting in the machinery, to the sitting in the factories. This is why we have to have things and leaders and people who are going to take us to that pendulum swing so that then we can swing it all the way the other side.
Mic drop. Perfect place to end. It's
Yeah.
really real. And I know a lot of us are living through this time, and before we came here, we knew it was going to be like this. But I want everybody listening, if you ever feel, when you feel, should I say, off center because of watching these actual things that we knew would happen, come back to, I came here for this and I came here to contribute to a new way. That always brings me right back because I remember being shown this. I do. I really do. And I wish that for everyone because this is no big surprise. And I think that the biggest the biggest surprise to all of us is how fast it's actually happening. But that's a good thing because we need to take
Yeah.
better care of each other. We need to take better care of this planet, and we need to understand that this is a revolutionary time because there is an entire new way of being in these bodies on this planet, anchoring in. And so understand that the old is dying every single day and the new is simultaneously being born. It's not like we're having this huge period of mourning the old. The new is getting born as quickly as the old is dying out. It's so intense. So, talk about the physical body.
Mm,
We need to really understand that, like, these things are happening at light speed to get us into the golden age timeline, which is unfolding right now. So, Stay centered, stay focused. Remember, you are here to contribute. You are a light worker. Thank you, my boo. I'm so happy that we keep doing these. And thank you for continuing
I
to
love it.
show up for House of Love. Thank you so much for listening to Mic Drop Sundrip. Join the community at houseoflow.co/mic drop sundrip. And remember, without truth, there can be no light. And without light, there can be no power.